If you can pick a place in the world where you actually interact with several different nationalities several times a day, something that I love, it happens here. And that's Miami.
Miami's a very welcoming city.
It's a city that has open arms.
I think that we have iguanas in Miami for a reason. Iguanas are these animals that you can find them on the street, sunbathing. You can find them on a tree, you can find them on your ceiling, on the roof of the house. They change the color of their skin depending on where they are, like a chameleon, That is what is Miami. All those people that are coming here, they will change the color of their skin. They have to, because this is indomitable.
Miami has this gravitas that's not national, but that's global.
And I said, I've got a deal for you. You can be in the United States, and you can be outside of the United States and still be inside the United States, and it's called Miami.
Miami is a free spirit. It's indomitable. Nobody is going to be able to really try to get this under control. We don't want it under control. It's like pure creativity when you talk to an artist. Artists are not going to structure their thinking. They can't. It's what comes from the heart and connects with your brain and translates into something. That is what's Miami.
The industry is receiving more proposals for international, mainstream, global collaborations that they've never had ever before. So that is what's going on in Miami. You have to be in Miami if you want to be in the global music stage today.
Miami has forever been the gateway from Latin America to the U.S. music stage. Latin pop, hip-hop, dance, trap, and reggaeton have been shaped by this city. It seems as though a musician can't call themselves a global artist without first finding a stage here. Why, even the Beatles were first introduced to the U.S. when they made their debut on The Ed Sullivan Show live from the Deauville Hotel in Miami Beach. The mid-60s then brought with it the birth of Miami's very own soul scene with Deep City Records, the label that launched the career of soul icon Betty Wright. From its Cuban roots to its danceable modern sound, Miami continues to sway the rhythm of the world's heart and feet.
I think Miami might, it's not particularly known for its intellectual capital. Is it going to feel a little bit artificial because it's a tourist-driven economy? That's what you think, at least. You don't know more than that. So you come into this and you think that it could be, a little bit unsatisfying after a period of time when the first honeymoon part is over, right? That's what I thought.
We did, at night, we did polling over 3 years in 29 communities. Gallup must have interviewed 400,000 people to try to determine what are the elements of connection to place. And culture and arts came up very, very high in every single kind of community. These were all American communities, U.S. communities. They came up very high, and so we decided that we would be the second or third biggest funder of arts organizations and the biggest funder of grassroots artists.
Placemaking.
Placemaking. It's all about placemaking.
I think looking at the future of America, I think Miami is an incredible position. If you talk about product market fit, the product market fit of Miami is perfectly positioned for the future of America and the future of Latin America. And if you look at the Latino culture here and how strong it is and how vibrant and thriving it is economically and culturally and politically, all of the pieces are there for Miami to become really the capital of America and Latin America. It is considered already a hub to Latin America, but the future of America, and it's demographically, if you look at it, over the next 40 years, the majority of America's population will be tied to Latino culture, language, and economy.
One of the things that I found distressing was that we were this like fun in the sun party place. So we weren't known as a city of substance. We were known as like the best place to come and go to nightclubs and party and hang out and go to the beach, fun in the sun. And you know, I didn't mind having that attribute, but I didn't want that to be our only attribute. And I knew that if the best art fair in the world decided to come to Miami, that would give us cultural substance. We'd have a global cultural platform.
Most people would say Miami was a cultural desert. There were no cultural activities. And that was one of the reasons that motivated me to start the book fair, because I knew that there were some serious readers in Miami. And the fair developed to be the most admired, the largest, the best known literary fair in the country. And actually, that was what motivated Art Basel to come to Miami. It's the success of the book fair, the success of the film festival. They knew that Miami was thirsty.
South Beach was amazing. It was completely run down. The establishment in Miami thought all those Art Deco buildings needed to be torn down. There was a group of us, a handful of developers, a historic preservation movement that we aligned with, and also some really just great community activists. And so we all kind of had a common vision about what we could do to figure out a way to adaptively reuse these historical structures in a way that would be impactful now. And when I look back on it, it's amazing. It was a catalyst to everything that you see in Miami now. It was really the beginning of the new Miami.
It was the beginning of Art Basel. Certainly that's something that I don't know if it's a coincidence, but I think that's a moment when the city starts to become something more than just a transition city. Because back then when we arrived, that was our feeling, right? That it would be a city where people would come, they would be involved in, living here for a couple of years, then they would move elsewhere. But ever since, the city has become more of a permanent destination for people to move, live here, grow, create businesses.
Today, Miami has much more in terms of cultural offerings of all kinds than almost any other city in the country. It's just amazing the amount of things that are taking both the traditional, like the opera, the ballet, the symphony, but also the new.
I mean, that all happened in the span of a little over a decade, or thereabouts. For many cities, that's a generation or two, right? And so there was just such a focused effort around, building that, any great city has, amazing art and culture.
It's grown a lot. I mean, the art collections, the amount of course, real estate that has developed throughout the city. I think it's been very positive in many, many ways.
There is no point in denying that Miami's time as a cultural and artistic powerhouse has come. The city has been building its reputation for some time now, and in the last few decades, Miami has cemented itself as the dream destination for most of Latin America and Europe. If time has taught us anything, it's that Miami's unique blend of cultural substance and expressive freedom will prove to be a winning recipe for years to come.
And then the last piece of the story was, now the neighborhood was working. We were clearly a successful design place. We were a cultural place. But I realized, like, it still didn't attract a lot of people, because how often do you buy a sofa? You know, it's not like you go to do that every day. And the light went off. I realized if we had fashion here and we could integrate fashion into a truly cultural place, not the typical place where people try to bring fashion, but a neighborhood that is globally recognized as a cultural destination, then that could be a game changer.
Living in Miami made me understand that there's a hunger for a great fashion system in Miami. I feel that it has never been yet profoundly curated. There have been little specks here and there, but I think there's a great possibility to bring the fashion world here, to become one of the leading fashion cities in the United States, and maybe, again, I don't say the world, because of course we have Paris and Milan, which are very iconic. Miami has the possibility of the global network, number one. It doesn't have to be Parisian, it doesn't have to be Italian. It is a global network. This could be the gateway for many countries to come and be able to show their creativity, if it's fashion, if it's digital fashion, if it's art, if it's theater. But in the fashion, there has not been the right concept for me where you can find everything at one place. And this is where I think Miami is key. So I think it could be a lot of support from Miami, from Florida, from the governor, from the mayor, everyone involved in the city to give a support to the fashion system. You need to have that. We have to find ways to be able to bring in the real creatives, the young creatives, the ones that are just beginning. These are the key ones because they are the future.
I think Miami gastronomy is really interesting, especially coming from Northeast. When I came to Miami, I discovered the vibrancy of Peruvian cuisine, Latin American, South American cuisine. That's really not really present in other parts of America. So I think that was really exciting. The Cuban cuisines and Peruvian, the Nikkei, the blend of Japanese and Peruvian, those are all fascinating. But in terms of community, what I learned is that there are like 24 of the old guards, if you will. They put so much effort in creating the gastronomy and the community that we know it now. So I think restaurants and bars and nightclubs and this hospitality establishment really kind of play a big role in allowing the new residents and the old guards to kind of it's a space where it's a safe space, and and we encourage people to interact. So we take that responsibility very seriously, and the fact that the restaurant scene in Miami is maturing and becoming more vibrant than ever before in a velocity that is like borderline scary, I think is very good for both the old guards and the new residents. Whole slew of new generation, right? Like after COVID was in a post-COVID world in Miami is probably one of the most vibrant one in entire America. So from New York, LA, from London, everything is really kind of like coming together. I feel like right now the gastronomy, along with many different elements, there's something that's like boom, 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 and people are attracted to it. And I really do think that this is the tip of the iceberg.
One of the most amazing elements of Miami's history centers on sports. And from the beginning, we've had sports, weather being one of the main reasons why. Baseball was a big sport in the early years, and then football became a major sport with Miami Senior High School in the 1920s, University of Miami beginning in 1926. Then we get to professional football in 1966, and ABA basketball in the 1960s, and I mean, it just goes on and on. The Heat, of course, has been such an incredible team. And soccer, shockingly, has been slow to catch on, but now it's going full blast. With so many Hispanics here, it can't help but catch on. Now you have the world's most famous soccer player and Lionel Messi, and you know, people are going crazy. We're building a new soccer complex and what have you. Sports are so exciting here. And something we don't think about now, I guess, very much is professional boxing. But I remember as a kid, I was always real interested in it. Now it's a complete turnoff, but we have some incredible boxers and fights here, beginning with the great Cassius Clay defeating Sonny Liston in February 1964, soon after he becomes Muhammad Ali. I mean, you know, this is a sports mecca.
I don't think you have many cities with all sports. We have the MLS now with Inter Miami, you have baseball with the Marlins, you have Dolphins with the NFL, you got the tennis, Miami Open. Now it's holding the Hard Rock Stadium. Before it was in Key Biscayne. And everybody, all the pilots love to come to Miami. A lot of them have a second residence in Miami. And Formula One is one of the biggest sports in the world with more fans, right? And I think it's going to help the city not only with the international tourism coming for the week, but just companies installing their headquarters here as well in the tech business, because Formula One is very tied to technology. And I think it's going to be huge. I see a big opportunity in soccer, as is the biggest sport in the world, and the World Cup coming to the States in 2026, which is going to be in US, Mexico, and Canada, but US as a main, you know, country and holding the semifinals and final, and Miami having a few games of the World Cup. That's going to be really big as well.
Leo Messi.
If you hear Beethoven's Sixth Symphony, your soul soars. It doesn't matter if you hear him in English or if you hear him in German or if you hear him in Spanish. And if you hear Gloria Estefan, your toe begins to tap. It just does.
Well, you know how they say there's that phrase, nadie es profeta en su tierra, that no one is a prophet in his own land? At the beginning of Miami, we suffered a little bit from that because we were a gig band that played quinces and, you know, bar mitzvahs and weddings. So we had to fight a lot of naysayers. No, you can't compete in that market. No, you know, you're a little band. Like, what makes you think that you can get, you know, national music on the national radio, or that you could go and Emilio and I, there's nothing that we love more than the word no, because it's like, oh, really? Watch this. But there was fusion happening here. As I said before, early Miami was really on the cutting edge of the hip hop scene. It was just an exciting music scene back then, back in the early 70s. So it's only natural, and especially after Emilio and I had the kind of success we had worldwide, that people would be drawn to Miami, especially for Emilio, because a lot of these artists really came looking for his producing skills and trying to grab a little bit of the magic that he had helped create, you know, but first Miami Sound Machine, and then for me as an artist added to, and then solo artist, although he's Miami Sound Machine pretty much. It was his thing all the way. There's an excitement and a freshness and a Miami sound, KC. There's this sound that is part, you know, dance music, but also has, even if it's not Latin music, there's this infusion of percussion. You know, the vocabulary expanded with conga drums and and bongos and things of this nature. And, you know, Latin music has always been very loved.
Miami's potential to influence the world is unparalleled. Its location and expressive population ensure its ability to play a big role on the world stage. For as the city becomes rich in life, that richness needs a healthy overflow into a new type of culture, a culture of giving.
The future of like the physical space will probably also change a lot. The fact that you can actually work from anywhere independent of what market or what function you have. What is going to happen very much is people will start to combine professional and personal ambitions in the place where they choose to live.
I think Miami could be the economic epicenter of the Southern Hemisphere. I think if there is an effort to focus on Central America, Latin America, the Caribbean, as well as the continent of Africa, and make sure that all of these so-called rising giants are active in the Miami ecosystem, along with the money that has come here from all of these major financial areas, the Bostons, the New Yorks, the San Franciscos. Everybody is coming here, and this was talked about years ago. You had all of these reports saying that, hey, Miami is a financial epicenter, but it never really like got traction. You know what I mean? Like it was puttering along. It had some connections to Latin America, but now I think that with the work of Emerge Americas and Riverwood and all of these other entities, that Miami can actually become what it was envisioned years ago. And it can be so much more.
Miami is like a 17-year-old teenager. And I mean that in the best possible way. You know, it's full of energy, full of ambition, just, you know, full steam ahead. Not tired, burning the candles at both ends. You know, we're getting the work done. We're also having a lot of fun as a city. And I think that's great. I think in 10 years' time, we're going to be 27-year-olds. And what that means, hopefully, is that we're going to start seeing a lot of the product of what we've been creating for the past year, which means more companies established here, more exits out of Miami, more companies being funded in Miami.
I would love us to continue to grow as a global city of substance. I think that this balance that we found between advocating for culture and also allowing business to happen is an important thing that's now, you know, part of our brand.
The successful cities of the next 2 decades are going to be ones that are more agile, that can reinvent. I mean, with the pace of technology, if you're not a place that can continually reinvent and start anew, you're going to struggle. And so continuing to lean in on that in a big way. Number 2, talent and inclusion. And furthermore, places that do that well are going to be the places that are doing it across the entire community.
There must be an agenda, a definite agenda, that addresses the issue of participation, that addresses the issue of equity, and more than anything, making sure that everyone has the opportunity to contribute. And it's crucial that those institutions, being public institutions, most of them, are properly funded to be able to provide the access and the affordability that is required for people at all levels.
But I think those issues of inequality and of environment are major issues that could derail what I see as otherwise a really very good forward path.
I would like to see public transportation, but I don't think that's going to happen in 10 years. But who knows? Maybe there's a way of. I think Miami would benefit a lot from having like a really serious project of transportation, so we don't have to be driving around I don't know how many hundreds, thousands of cars. are in Miami. I think instead of being so focused on, you know, on certain technological changes, I think it's more a mentality change that the city would benefit tremendously from. Also because it would bring more people out onto the streets. I think Miami is still very much a tarmac kind of, you know, car-oriented place, and it would be great to have something that looks more like, you know, having a tram and having a train to move yourself around, because it's enjoyable, because it brings you together with more people. It shows you the people that live in the city that you don't get to see elsewhere, and I guess also that, you know, empowers the vision of community that so many times we lack or we fail to see, because we're, you know, very comfortable commuting from one place to the other without having to interact with as many people.
You know, Miami's in this magical time. It's the magical, you know, the magic city. And I think what we're seeing around technology and art and just the future of work is an exciting time. We are in that position to be able to fuel our community's talent, but also fuel the community's cultural engine with Miami Book Fair, with, you know, our museum, with the film festival. And so now we celebrate Art Basel, but think about, you know, 1983 when the Books by the Bay started and became Miami Book Fair, and the film festival and the gallery system of Miami-Dade College. So not only do we bring the education aspect of it, but we also bring the cultural aspect to it and the aspect of community and service.
I don't think in Miami, I wish we could, but I don't think in Miami we're going to have a collection that competes with Picasso's and Monet's or, you know, de Koonings, you know, with other museums in the world. You know, every Picasso costs you $20 million. You know what I'm saying? So I think for us to build a collection, it has to be contemporary art, because we are a contemporary city. So, and we can actually have one of the best Cuban, and by I mean Cuban, Cuban-American, Latin American, and Latinx, I mean Latins that live in the United States, collections in the world. You know, I don't want to demean, you know, all the effort and the progress that we have made, but we have a long way to go. We don't want to kid ourselves and say, wow, we got there. No, we haven't gotten there yet. We need to continue to work very hard to become a true all-around world urban center. We're very young as a city, as a museum, and we have a lot to grow. And that means that we have to have a lot of people that contribute in order for that growth to occur. And you have to remember that particularly as Latin Americans, we don't have a tradition of giving. So when the studies are done, you look at that people at very high income, the people of Hispanic descent, are the lowest as far as public giving. And we have to change that. And every time that I make a gift, a donation in philanthropy, I try it to be a catalyst, you know, for other people that have had the luck that I have had, you know, that have, because of this country, many of them, have become wealthy, that they have an obligation to give back in order to make the city great, just like you see the Carnegies and the Rockefellers and the Fords, you know, all have been great philanthropists, you know, and have created, you know, great museums, great cities, and so forth. And we're first generation, so it's still tough, you know, but we have to become a lot more philanthropic, particularly in our Hispanic community.
Miami's cultural melting pot is invigorating. Year after year, the city has been making strides in art, sports, fashion, literature, and technology. Today, Miami is a city rich with culture.
Because the story is very clear for us who live here. We're in it right now, we feel it, we can touch it, what's going on. It's a place to be discovered by a lot of people. The music industry in Miami today is in an incredibly interesting place and space. It has always been important. Miami has always been important for the music industry. It's always been the hub for what is Latin music or music performed in the Spanish or Portuguese language, independent of genre, right? So Miami has always had its place, but right now, what's going on in Miami, I think, is historical. It's the capital, I would say, of the sound that is the most listened to worldwide. So many of the biggest artists that we have, globally speaking, meaning the artists with the biggest amount of followers, biggest amount of streams being generated on our platform, which has an enormous coverage, is coming from Miami, is coming from Latin America, and they're all centered here.